So let's move to our first step, and that is real-time database. So you guys may be thinking, why not authentication first, then the database? That's because the easiest thing that you can learn in uh, Firebase is the real-time database. You can store data to the real-time database really easily. Now, why this is called real-time database is because the data that is stored in this database is actually real time. You don't need to reload the page, and you don't need to reload the page even to retrieve the data. Everything that's going to happen in this is all real time. Now, if you open up the database, you're going to see that there is something right over here. Now, for the basics, let's take our first step. Now, there is a note right over here that says default security rules require user to be authenticated. Now, what does that mean is I'm just going to dismiss this, and let's go to the rule tab over here. So if you move to the rules tab, there are the rules that are defined for the database. Now, inside this rule, there it says that to read the data from the database, the auth should not be null. That means the user should be signed in to read the data, and same for that to write the data to the database. Now, this is not necessary to learn right now, but I'm just telling you anyway. So in future, when we will be working with database, you should know that there are rules that exist to work with the database. Now, for our current rules, you can see that to read the data, you need to be authenticated. That means you need to be logged in, not to the Firebase, but into your app. I'll explain it in detail in later parts. I'm going to go to the data tab right over here, and here you can see that there is a link which says FIR tutorials, and this link is basically the link to our root directory of our Firebase database. Now, if I copy this link and paste it over here and hit enter, what you should see, it's just gonna open up the Firebase if you are logged in. But if you are not logged in, I'll show that to you guys later. But right now, what you can see that there is something right over here. Now, this data is not like any other database, not like the MySQL or SQL database. This is the nested database. What you call it is hierarchy view. So I'm going to show you how you can store data in the database. Now, if you hover over to the name of the database, this is the root of our database, everything that will be stored will be stored inside this root element, or you can say root key. Now, here you can see the value right now is null. You can see there is a plus button that says add child, and a cross button that says delete. Basically, that means remove child. So I'm going to hit the plus button, and it will bring out a hierarchy view, and which says name and its value. Now, for the name, you can enter anything, just like name and value. I'm going to use my name for right now, say Akshay, and I'm going to hit enter, which says which just stores the data to our root element over here. Now, here you can see that the key is name and the value of the key is Akshay. Here I can add more keys to it. Just hover over to the name of our database again and hit the add button. I'm going to say age and maybe email address, and we can type in some email address as well. Here you can see that we have added another key or another child object to our root element. Now, this is not limited to it. You can add more and more elements. Even you can nest more elements to the child object as well, but I'll teach you that later. Or maybe let's take a look, a really small example right over here. So I'm going to just remove both of these objects right over here. So I'm going to hit the cross button, hit delete. Same for the name, hit the cross button, hit delete. Now, what I want you guys to do, let's say we have a list of users. We have 3 users, and we store the name and the email address of those 3 users. So how we can do that? I'm going to go to the plus icon, add child icon, hit that, and what I want you guys to do is, instead of typing name and value both, what I want you to do is add in like user 01 directly, and instead of typing in the value, just hit the add button. Now what it will do is it will create another nested child to our user 1 child, and now here you can see that you can store name as well as another object that says all right, hit enter. There you can see that we have created one nested child object. Let's do that once again. Again, go to your root element, hit the add button, user 02. Instead of typing in the value, click on the add button. Name, it's going to be Alice this time. Do this again, and let's say Alice at tvac.in. That's actually the website. All right, my blog, that's what you can call it. Here you can see that we have added 2 users to our database, the root database, and that's just a sample how you can store data to your database. This is not like limited, you should do it like this way, but this is one way to do it, and there are so many ways to do it, and we're going to take a look at those examples in later parts. But right now, go to the database and try to add some of the stuff, some data, and maybe like not just user, just add in like there are a bunch of teammates, yeah, like member 1 and his name and age or email, or maybe even the mobile number, and store the data like this over here, because that's how we will do it in the later parts. So see you guys later, and in next part we will start working with Android project instead of just typing out the data right over here. So see you guys.